Hi, my name is Mark. As you see this Chevy in the background over here, this is a Chevy Tahoe that I rented last week for a trip, and I would like to demonstrate to you what happened after I removed the third row seats, two of the third row seats from the back of the vehicle. The reason I'm doing this is to prevent anyone else from going through such a painful ordeal, especially with little children. Okay, so basically this seat has three different positions and three different options. Option one is the number one lever, which lays the seat down like this. Option two, which is when you engage lever 2. As I lift it, pull the handle and the seat goes up against the other seat. And option 3 is to remove the seat. You engage lever 2, you bring it down, and then you pull the handle where it says remove only, and the seat comes right out. Okay, so now that the seat has been removed, as you can see, I'm going to get ready to carry the seat, to take it inside my house or garage to store it. So like this I have room for extra luggage. Okay, so as you can see, now I'm carrying the seat inside my house. Okay, so now I'm in my house and I'm placing the seat on the floor, storing it until I need to put it back into the vehicle. Okay, so you see the seat is laying nicely over here. Looks harmless, but that is not the case. What happened was the next day, after I placed the seat over here, my neighbor came into the house and she lost something, dropped something. She was looking for something that she had a feeling may have gone under the seat. And all she simply wanted to do was lift the seat a little bit to see if her item is under the seat over there. Now this seat is not so heavy. It's bulky, but it's not so heavy. As you can see, I'm lifting it over here. So this is what happened. She was in this position and she put her hands over here to lift the seat a little bit. And as she put her hand under the seat to lift the seat, snap! It caught her fingers and she went down, and she went down fast to the floor. And she went down in such a position, she went down like this, and her fingers remained, I don't want to put my fingers in there now, but her fingers remained in this position. And as she was sitting over here, she was screeching for pain. And I think the entire block heard her. And I was in the backyard and I heard this screaming. And when I came in and I saw her in this position, I thought what happened was, it's like when you lift a heavy piece of furniture and your toe or your finger gets stuck. So all I need to do is lift it. So I ran over and I lifted the seat like this. And that made things a lot worse. She even screamed louder than the first time as I lifted it. That's when I noticed that her fingers are not stuck underneath the seat. There was something else going on. So I bent down on the floor and I couldn't see anything. And I took a picture with my phone to see what is going on. And I was surprised to see her fingers got caught into the mechanism of the seat. As she's in excruciating pain, I'm realizing that there is not much that I could do. And I'm trying and I'm looking and I'm trying to comfort her, but I see that there is not much that I could do to help her. While I asked my son to call 911, the only thing I was able to do is bend down and see exactly what is happening with an attempt to try to release her, if possible at all. Again, I noticed that it's impossible for me to release her two fingers. I took another picture with my phone, which I'll show you, which picture speaks for itself. Look at this picture. How the two middle fingers are stuck. Now look at the seat, and you see where the hole is on the left hand side. That's where she put her fingers in. Now this could happen to anybody, because it doesn't say do not touch, it doesn't have a safety cover, and maybe it doesn't have a safety cover because it's supposed to be safe. And it should be perfectly fine for anybody to put their fingers in here. I don't know, and I'm not going to try it after what I saw. But when people bend down, they could put their hand over here, they could put their hand over here, they could put their hand over here. Now she wasn't planning on putting her fingers in here. She just put her hand over here, and happened to be two of her fingers went in over here. Okay, so as we're waiting for 911 to respond, she's obviously in pain. Her condition is getting worse. She's starting to sweat. Imagine your fingers being trapped with a crazy amount of pressure. The magnitude of the pressure almost flattened her finger like a paper. And as 911 came, 4 personnel came in, paramedic as well, and they all got down on the floor and immediately thought that they could remove it 1, 2, 3. And the first thing they did is this. They went to the back lever 2, which I showed you earlier, which is supposed to release it from the lock position. But apparently when they tried to engage lever 2, it made matters worse, and she started to have more pain than she had originally. So that they realized very quickly that they cannot touch that lever. Next, what they try to do is turn her to get the witness seat on a side position so they could see the mechanism from underneath. Again, they realized that this seat cannot be touched, moved, not her, and not the seat. And this was about 20 minutes that she's in pain, and they're realizing that her condition is deteriorating. And they dispatched for another crew with heavy-duty rescue equipment, and it took 10-15 minutes for the other crew to show up or something. And while they're doing that, they hooked her up on a line, and they started to give her some morphine for the pain. When the second crew showed up, which had a lot of heavy tools with blowtorch and grinders and all other things, they came in and they actually used this seat. They opened up this seat, which I'll demonstrate for you over here, and they examined the mechanism. Most importantly, they examined this part and this part over here, where they were able to see where her fingers are jammed. And then they quickly realized that there is no undoing it. This is not a case that you could just press a release button or take out a spring and it's going to jump back up. And basically this is where this seat comes in to play. What they had to do is they had to give her more morphine, C3, and they gave her more. I think they gave her 4 times, you know, to calm the pain down. Then they covered her with a special blanket because they were going to use a blowtorch, put her on eye protection, and then they started to work over here. If you could see, with a blowtorch and a grinder, literally millimeters away from her finger in order to cut it open. And then her fingers came out. Now, like I said earlier, the reason I'm doing this is to prevent and to save anybody else that this may happen to. These are seats that I've frequently taken out of vehicles for extra luggage. When you go with your family, it is a family vehicle, and people use the back seats for extra passengers, and they remove the back seats when they need extra luggage. Once this seat is removed, this seat needs to be carried. It could be carried by an adult, it could be carried by a teenager, it could be carried by anybody. And when anybody lifts that seat, if my son, my 16-year-old, my 14-year-old daughter would have lifted that seat, which they're very helpful, and they would have done it, this could have happened to them. And their fingers being skinnier, and they're being younger and not being able to tolerate such pain. I heard the captain on the radio say that we almost lost 2 fingers, because if they were not able to remove it, God forbid, I guess the next thing would be amputation. I mean, I don't even want to think about it, but that's most probably what it would be. And I'm grateful that they were able to get it out. What basically happened, I'm not a mechanic, but to explain in simple English, what happened is that in the vehicle, on the floor of the vehicle, there are 4 hooks, 1, 2, 3, 4, which when you put the seat in, it holds the seat in place. When you take the seat out, you use that lever that I explained to you before, and you pull the seat out. So it's a hook that looks like this, and then here comes the seat, and the seat comes on top of this hook and grabs the hook. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but apparently when her finger went into the hole over here, it's as if the metal latch went in and it locked around it, and you couldn't release it. So you could just imagine the pressure and the strength of a seat that is safe to drive on the highway, that the seat shouldn't fall out of place, and the seat will not fall out of place, and that's why it's assembled in such a way that it cannot move, it cannot budge. That same pressure was around her finger. Again, I'm doing this clip to prevent, and anybody that has a vehicle, this particular vehicle is a Chevy Tahoe 2012, LT, I believe it is, and this is a rental, but you know, we'll assume all Chevys are the same. If you ever need to take vehicles out of the back seat, make sure that you only lift the seat from the middle of the seat, from the bottom bar, and not to put your fingers next to it. Again, this should have been covered. I'm not sure if this is a malfunction. I'm not sure if all seats are like this. I'm not sure if this is what happened to anybody. Okay, but I don't think we can wait to find out if it will or if it won't. And that's why I did this clip. Thank you.